him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-mugub, it's time for the only news that matters. And during an appearance on the latest episode of the Candid Mic with Frank Strine podcast, Skid Row's bassist Rachel Bolan was asked to respond to LA Guns guitarist Tracy Guns' recent comments that Bolan and his Skid Row bandmates are leaving millions of dollars on the table by refusing to reunite with singer Sebastian Bach. Bolan says, "It's a bummer because I thought Tracy was my bud." It's really funny because everyone thinks that there's an accountant. You know, that they think they're an accountant. They think they're an accountant promoter, you know. Everyone thinks that they know how much is coming in. We approached a possible reunion with Sebastian at one point years ago, and it obviously imploded very quickly. There's not millions of dollars out there. I mean, as Skid Row, we're making really good money right now. It wasn't much more than we would have gotten by getting back together with Sebastian. But yeah, I saw what Tracy said about that, and I'm just like, why doesn't Tracy just stay in his own yard? You know what I mean? It's funny hearing him because other people shout out numbers too. They're like, they can make this and that and the other thing. It's like, no, we can't. That's totally false and two quality of life motherfuckers. You want to be happy? You want to be happy doing what you're doing? And I'm not here to talk shit about anyone. Everyone. That's their career, and that's my career. Tracy has his own career. He should worry about that and not about Skid Row. All right, Tracy Guns, what he said on the Chuck Shoot podcast, he goes, "I hate to bring up Skid Row and Sebastian because I love all those guys. I love that band. I love them together. I love them separate. But the guys in the band, their point of view is that Sebastian to them is a shithead. And then Sebastian's point of view is like, well, they wanted a Daily Raw type guy. And my point of view is, don't ever leave that kind of fucking money on the table. What the fuck is wrong with all of you? Seriously, no joke. I'm not making a joke or a funny ha ha ha. They don't ever have to see Sebastian to go perform live and to make millions of dollars. Not just $1 million, millions of dollars. Asked if he really thinks it was that much money that they missed out on by not reuniting with Bach, Tracy said, yes, absolutely. Skid Row was a high impact band. They make pretty decent money now, even not having a singer. They make a pretty decent amount of money. I think the excitement for the 200 shows over the 3 years, you know, it's no problem, man. They will be playing arenas for sure. When host Chuck Shoot asked if Tracy thinks that Skid Row guys don't like Sebastian that much and they're willing to cost themselves millions of dollars, Guns replied, I think they don't like Sebastian that much. When you manifest hatred based on an experience or 100 experiences, like they say, doing the same thing another time and expecting it to be different is the definition of insanity. Well, then do it differently. You know what I mean? It's like, then do it differently. I think Rachel and Snake in particular, I think it's so wound up in their heads how toxic Sebastian is that they've amplified it over and over and over again. And they come out in the press like, no, we don't like the guy, it'll never happen. Cool, man, cool. And Sebastian's point of view is cool, whatever. But at the same time, it's the music business. It's not a friend's business. You're lucky if everybody's friends and you're doing good business, but you're really lucky if you're doing amazing business and you don't have to be friends. And that's ego. The ego just standing in the way. Me, I'm a little bit different because I really just want to play my guitar. I don't worry about money. I haven't ever. And I've been broke. I've been poor. But that's not a motivation factor for me. I get excited when we make a lot of money. I don't expect it. I'm like, whoa, we make a lot of fucking money now. And it's great. It's a bonus. If LA Guns was as big as Skid Row, man, fuck, I'd give away two of my kids. And I only have 2 kids. But I'm not saying anything that nobody knows. It's just like, I love those guys. And if the Who could do it, come on, man. If the Eagles can do it, if Guns N' Roses can do it, why are you two? You're not cool. You're just not cooler than them. That's kind of messed up. He said that. Then he said, like I said, at this point, they are an unbelievable legacy band from a time that I don't care how many snotty people are on the internet talking shit about all of them. People are going to see Skid Row with Sebastian Bach. But my whole ulterior motive is this, is if Skid Row got back together, then LA Guns can go open for Skid Row. That's my whole reason for trying to get Skid Row back together. And he laughs. And he says, you can't replace Sebastian Bach and Skid Row. I'm sorry, you can't replace Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses. You can't replace Phil Lewis and LA Guns. Yet you did for many years. You can't replace Bret Michaels and Poison. And if you do, you're just changing the band. And only a couple people will be really successful at it. And it's like, obviously, AC/DC and Van Halen, which is debatable, but the Rolling Stones certainly could not replace Mick Jagger. Aerosmith couldn't replace Steven Tyler. You can't do it. And while Skid Row's done pretty good, it ain't the same. Yeah, last month, Dave Sabo told the Bad Decision podcast that one of the things that we said in the very beginning was, it is not ever not fun. If it's ever not fun, then either we stop doing what we're doing or it'll fix it. Why it's not fun. I'm not going to go out there and do it and fake it for a blank check. I've never been about that. Rachel's never been about that. And Scotty never been about that. So we're not gonna do it. And there's been a lot of people saying, oh, just do it for the money. And I'm like, no, I'm just not built that way, man. And I'm smart enough, and we are all smart enough to make sure that we're doing okay with what we made. And look, I don't live lavishly by any stretch of the imagination, but I can take care of my family. I don't worry about the future for a monetary standpoint. And so I'm really fortunate like that. And it's because that's been my viewpoint all along. I've never been about, we gotta make a buck. It's always been about, if we do things, we're genuine and we stay true to our characters, to our spirit. And this is gonna sound weird, and we are selfish songwriters. And what I mean by that is that we are writing for ourselves. We're not writing for anyone else. And then you hope that the way that you translate how you feel through music and lyrics and melodies and performances will have a positive effect on people, and thus they'll want to come see you and hear your music. And that's why we've always done what we've done. All right. Okay. Number one. Tracy Guns pretty much admits in this interview, Phil Lewis is in the band for the money. You know, he's kind of, I mean, maybe they do get along, but he's given an example of, look, Skid Row doesn't get along with Sebastian. And blah, 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 you know? And I would do it, you know, I would get, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. You can't do LA Guns without Phil Lewis. And how many years did he do LA Guns without Phil Lewis? And I believe, Rachel, that they're not getting offered millions. I don't think a Skid Row reunion with Sebastian would be even half as popular as Tracy's saying it'll be. I think they'll still be playing the same venues. I think if Sebastian does come back with Skid Row, they're going to get a lot of bookings at festivals, and, you know, it'll be a good first tour, but then it'll die down and it'll be smaller venues like what they're playing now. I mean, I've seen them play the Revolution with a very nice sized venue, and I saw them play an amphitheater with Eric Grunwald, and both of them were packed. Well, the amphitheater also had Warren and Quiet Riot. I'm sure that helped. But when I saw him with Big Buck Cherry, it was a packed, you know, it's not a small club. There's 2 stories. And it was packed, and they did great, you know. And also, I've said it before, I mean, there was an interview where Snake talks about he has anxiety, you know. And I think it's unhealthy for Sebastian, you know, to go back because, you know, of his anxiety. Scotty Hill pretty much said in an interview he hated him. Why would I want to be in the same room with a guy I hate, is how he put it, you know? And then we have Tracy Guns here that has anxiety because he played, I don't know if he did this more than once, but there was a show they played that he didn't come out on stage. He played the whole show in the bathroom because of anxiety issues. So if anybody would know that, you know, obviously Phil Lewis is not messing with his anxiety, you know, but if he had somebody like, if Phil Lewis was like Sebastian, hey man, I think Tracy would play the bathroom every night. You wouldn't want to be on the same stage. You know, he'd have panic attacks being on the same stage with Phil Lewis if he was like Sebastian. I just find this, you know, yeah, Phil, I mean, Tracy, whatever, that's his opinion. I think his opinion is wrong. I don't think they're being offered millions. There's no way they're going to be filling arenas, even on the first tour, how he's claiming they can fill arenas. No way. They didn't even fill really arenas down here in South Florida when they were huge. I saw the Slave to the Grind tour at the Sunrise Musical Theater. Probably holds 5,000 people. I know they played bigger arenas all across the U.S. for Slave to the Grind. I don't know how well they sold, but I know Subhuman Race with Sebastian, with the original drummer, which everybody's original, that tanked. That did real bad. And their very last show was at a festival where they pretty much got booed because that festival had like heavy bands and this and that. But there you go. That's what Tracy Guns said. It bothered Rachel Bolan. Rachel Bolan came back and snapped back. And Rachel Bolan doesn't really talk about Sebastian Bach much. He tries to avoid that issue, but he kind of brings him up a lot now to show Tracy Guns, you don't know what you're talking about. But there you go. That is the only news that matters. Thank you so much for watching, and please leave a comment in the comments below. I would love to know what you think of this, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and ring that little notification bell. I would totally appreciate that. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.